Community Futures Ontario has 61 Community Futures Development Corporations serving all of Ontario. What can a CFDC and the Community Futures program do for your small business? Consider the three-legged stool. It's a solid seat, but take away just one leg and you'll be picking yourself off the floor. The Community Futures program has three essential legs too: economic development, business counseling, and small business loans. Economic development activities advance opportunity for the small business sector within local communities with feasibility studies, marketing campaigns, and skills training to create a job-ready workforce. Business counseling helps small business operators combine their knowledge and experience with sound business management principles, and ultimately more success. And it's free. We'll show you the money too. CFDCs can lend a small business up to $150,000 to start, expand, or even reposition. Equipment, renovations, inventory, and working capital can all be financed by your local CFDC. Three indispensable legs of a sturdy stool. That's the Community Futures program.
Ahmed Maria currently serves as the IESO's Director of Transmission Planning and is responsible for the ongoing planning of Ontario's bulk and regional transmission systems. Prior to his current role, Ahmed led the department responsible for assessing new facility connections across the province and served in a number of additional leadership and engineering positions, primarily focused on power systems assessments. Ahmed is a registered professional engineer in the province of Ontario with over 15 years of experience in the electric industry. He holds undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in electrical engineering from the University of Toronto and the University of Waterloo, and also an MBA from the Rotman School of Management. Introducing Ahmed Maria.
Hello, and thank you for inviting us to speak to you today. My name is Ahmed Maria, and I'm responsible for regional electricity planning and for transmission system planning at the IESO. The IESO plays a central role in the electricity sector in Ontario. While we don't own any physical assets, we don't own transmission assets or generation assets, we are responsible for operating the electricity system. We manage the reliability of Ontario's electricity system, and we ensure that electricity is available when and where it's needed. A large part of that includes planning for Ontario's future electricity needs at both the provincial level and at the local level. Speaking to communities and understanding their priorities is a very critical aspect of electricity planning. And from our conversations in the Northeast, we know that enabling economic growth is a major focus for you, including growth in the industrial sector, and that access to affordable and reliable electricity is key for enabling that growth. I'd like to talk to you today about how we're working with you to ensure your future electricity needs are met, and about the important role of engagement and communities in that process. But first, I'd like to provide you with some context on how the bigger picture in Ontario is changing. Right now, our most recent planning forecasts are showing that after years of energy surplus in Ontario, we will see energy needs beginning to emerge in the middle of this decade, and this is due to a number of different factors. Demand over the next 20 years is projected to grow steadily as we start to see growth in the agricultural sector, electrification of transit, and now an increase in the residential sector as more people start to work from home. The landscape of generation is also shifting with the coming retirement of the Pickering nuclear station and other nuclear refurbishments. In addition, generator contracts that we signed 20 years ago are coming to an end. We're responding to these changes in the Ontario electricity sector by working closely with stakeholders to determine the best way to acquire the capacity that we need in the middle of this decade. And we're doing this with an eye towards flexible and competitive mechanisms that will allow us to adjust as system conditions change. An example of a competitive and flexible mechanism is a province-wide capacity auction that the IESO held last December. A capacity auction is a process where generation resources compete to provide the capacity that is needed by submitting offers. I'd like to say that an energy storage facility in the city of Sault Ste. Marie was one of the successful participants. We're also looking to meet our future supply needs with new and different technologies. We're enabling resources like storage and hybrid systems to play a larger role in providing the capacity and energy that we need. We're also supporting the inclusion of more local electricity producing resources, also called distributed energy resources, or DERs. Increasingly, DERs are creating a more decentralized electricity system And many communities in Ontario, including the Northeast, are telling us that DERs are a key priority to meeting their long-term energy and GHG reduction goals. We've been listening through our regional planning work in Sault Ste. Marie and Chapleau, and to our participants in our Northeast Regional Electricity Network. And we've heard that enabling your economic growth is a main focus for you. At the local level, we've seen a very forward-thinking approach to achieving an adequate and reliable electricity supply. And we've seen a very strong interest in exploring alternative energy options for meeting future energy needs. Community-driven innovation in the Northeast is producing initiatives like the Smart Grid project in Sault Ste. Marie, which was recently approved for funding by the OEB, and a microgrid in North Bay, partly funded by the IESO's Grid Innovation Fund. And we know that several communities are also looking at electrification of transit and buildings as a way to meet climate change goals and reducing GHG emissions. We see this potential, and these are things we want to continue to work with you on. In addition, we're also aware of growth in the industrial sector through companies like Algoma, Noront, and Tenaris, and that industrial growth will play a major role in your future needs over the next decade. The IESO is responding to these and other industrial needs with a new study that will assess the adequacy of the bulk electricity infrastructure that supplies the Northeast, and conversations around this study will begin soon. This study, which is focused on the infrastructure that delivers electricity across the province into the north, is separate but related to our regional planning studies, which are more focused on the local electricity infrastructure that delivers power within the region. Presently, regional planning is being completed for the areas north and east of Sudbury and for the areas north of Moosonee. In the near term, activities happening now include programs that form part of our new conservation and demand framework. These programs are focused on customer-driven projects and energy management practices in organizations and are designed to help reduce system and customer costs, to contribute to meeting local energy needs, and are designed to make a meaningful impact to the bottom line of businesses, and in doing so, support economic growth. Alongside the new conservation framework, our newly designed Indigenous energy support programs for First Nation communities are promoting broad participation in Ontario's electricity sector. They will continue the IESO support for community capacity building and provide funding for energy planning and renewable energy project development, among other things. 11 First Nation communities in the Northeast have been approved for 16 different funding initiatives, and we remain committed to working alongside First Nation communities to support their growth and development. As you can see, there's a lot happening in the Northeast, and upcoming engagements for planning activities will need your input. You're making community energy solutions and climate change goals a priority, and we want to be part of that work. The input of your industrial customers, local hydro companies, transmitters, municipal planners, and members of community is critical to our decision making. So please come and talk to us. Join the Northeast Regional Electricity Network and our online platform called IESO Connects for ongoing two-way dialogue between community stakeholders and the IESO. If you're interested in learning more about future events, the networks, or how to become a member of your electricity network, please visit the IESO's website. If you have any questions at all on engagement or are looking to learn more, please do not hesitate to reach out and contact our community engagement team at communityengagement@ieso.ca. Thank you for this great opportunity to speak with you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference.